So when I graduated from my BEd program, I was left with some prompts from our professor, Doug Friesen, and also reflecting on what I was able to observe and see within my own teaching practicum. And the combination of that plus the first couple of years of my teaching, it made me realize that we don't necessarily, if you've got a program that kind of follows the traditional Eurocentric classical music direction, I realized there are not many opportunities around students actually creating original music and those opportunities for them to create their own music. And so Doug has a very famous quote that always kind of stuck with me was, "What's creative about telling kids where to breathe in holes?" So that made me realize that, we spend a lot of time, like, for example, preparing kids to play in band and for performances. And do we necessarily make time for students to create their own music? And what I found was that usually any form of music making came after learning multiple units and years of music theory or music performance first. So there's such a heavy emphasis on learn the theory, learn the performance first, and then you get to create, rather than creating a culture in our music programs of being able to create from day one, and in a way kind of disacknowledging the musical knowledge that students already bring in the classroom. So I know during the first couple of days, I'm asking students, like, what is your previous music experience? And a lot of students right away, they'll just say, like, I don't have any. And I'm like, well, actually you do, because you listen to music, you listen and appreciate it, you know what you like and you dislike, you can already tell what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. So I actually argue with not like a heavy argument, but I do challenge my students that they already come into the classroom with expertise, and it's just a matter of kind of developing what their listening ear and the music literacy, like, it's already developing what that base knowledge of what they do already know. So that kind of challenged me to think about, are there ways for students to practice making music from day one? So rather than having to wait after 8-10 theory lessons, are there opportunities for them to create music from day one? And that way, when we start teaching about music theory and performance and technique, it's with the idea of, here's some skills and tools to help you continue creating music. Here are some more things to help you understand it and for you to be able to compose and create your own. So then one of the great things working at my school is that we assess both outcomes and competencies. So the outcomes are from the curriculum, and the competency base. So every options class identifies 2 to 3 competencies. So for example, I evaluate students on creativity, collaboration, and personal growth. And each class there's a list of 9 of them provided by Alberta Ed, and you pick 2 or 3 that are most relevant for your class content. And you have the opportunity to evaluate students on those skills. And so using that competency-based assessment, I was able to use we call them creative music challenges. And it was an opportunity for students to be given different tasks and challenges to help create their own music, again, from day one. I don't wait until kids know how to play an instrument, but from day one, and then they can actually see their growth and their progress and their ability to take more things that they've learned from class to apply it to these creative music challenges, and assessing them more on the process of how they created the product. So taking away that pressure from the final product and evaluating them on the process. So evaluating them on their understanding of the creative process, evaluating them on their ability to collaborate and work together to create a final musical project. And what I found was that there is quite a bit of a shift in my program culture. So I found that if we create a culture in our music classes of creating music from day one and just integrating it and allowing it to be part of your program. What I found was that students were less anxious about experimenting with music, around taking risks, even when they were taking risks with any sort of playing test or performance task that we were doing in class. It almost alleviated some of that anxiety that students get. They're more eager to experiment and try and take risks, and if it goes wrong, it's like, oh, hey, okay, it went wrong. And especially during when we start talking about jazz improv and whenever I start creating tasks around compositions in my upper years, for example, for them to create, for example, our pop song unit, they actually have to compose and write their own pop songs and then perform it. So they're less, there's less anxiousness or hesitancy to actually try it, because we've created this culture of experimenting and trying from day one through creative tasks. So I see the value in offering these tasks into students and integrating it into our program, rather than letting it be like this one-off task that you do. If you integrate it as part of your program, and knowing too that you can assess so many other outcomes. For example, if you do a creative music challenge using instruments, right away you can assess students' abilities to you can assess their understanding of their instrument technique and musical phrasing, for example. Like there's always ways to connect those outcomes back to the curriculum. But I see the value in the result of like the students and the culture and vibe of my program, and integrating creativity as part of your music program and valuing it as much as others. So valuing creative original creation as much as you value theory and performance and history as well. So I guess my hopes for music education is that we can begin to move forward, kind of deconstructing that idea of like, here is the music, I am the conductor, I tell you what to do and you listen to those instructions, but deconstructing that idea of music education and integrating different genres of music, different perspectives, different ways to create music.